We are halfway through season 16, and season 16 has given us a lot of new stuff. One of these include hero bans, and on May 23rd, Gavin Winter made a blog post basically just giving some stats following some console and PC hero bans, Masters Plus on PC, etc, just giving us some statistics in terms of who's the most banned in certain situations and who's the least. And for a majority of these statistics, we can see that Sombra is like top 3 most picked hero basically. Like for every single displayed statistic, she's in the top 3 of that statistic in terms of DPS. Now, before these stats were released, people specifically on Twitter have been complaining that, yo, people just keep banning Sombra and just constantly just keep banning her. I think it's so bad that Question might start playing a new hero. And to be honest with you, this season I have barely played competitive. The only thing I've really been playing is Stadium, and now I'm starting to get bored of it, so I might just hop back in competitive. And for all the games that I've played, which is only like a few games, they ban Sombra every time. So now obviously Sombra mains or people who would want to play Sombra are not exactly the happiest. Telling people, you know, if you ban Sombra, it's literally a skill issue, she's easily counterable, you know, basically just all these things. And I think it's a very interesting conversation that I would personally like to chime into. But for now, I'm just going to show you guys like all of the stats kind of, because there's not really a lot of stats to look at. PC bans across all ranks, Sombra is basically the top. Console bans across all ranks, Sombra is number 1. PC bans on Masters Plus, Sombra is second in terms of DPS. Masters and above bans for console, Sombra is number 1. In Korea for Masters and above, Sombra is second in terms of DPS. In Masters and above in Europe, Sombra is third in terms of DPS. I think she actually ties with Farah for second. Masters and above in America, Sombra is a whooping 4th in terms of DPS, with Farah surprisingly being 3rd. And then there's a band variance by rank. You can see that in terms of DPS, it kind of starts in between 3.0 and 3.5 and then decreases the deeper you get into ranks. While I can probably point out some other common heroes who are in like the top 5 or top 3, I specifically want to talk about Sombra because people have been talking mostly about Sombra. Why is Sombra the most consistently banned hero throughout all platforms in like the top 3? Before I answer that, let's probably answer some questions first. If you're picking Sombra, the most likely thing that you're going to do in terms of playing Sombra is flank. Like who supports? And if your supports die in the team fight, you've pretty much lost the team fight, to put it lightly and simply. Now we have other flanks. There can be Lucio, there's Genji, there's Tracer. And I think the reason why they'd rather do a Sombra against a Genji or a Tracer, or potentially even a Lucio, is probably because Sombra in a lot of people's eyes is the least fun hero to go up against. Like Sombra can go invisible. I know with her latest rework, they kind of reworked her invisibility and stuff, so she can only go invisible when she like translocates. But you kind of have this hero who she basically hacks you in like 0.5 seconds. I don't know how long, but it feels very quick. And after she's done her hacking, you can't use any of your abilities. And on top of that, she can use Virus, which on hacked enemies does a lot more damage, can basically kill you in like a very short amount of time. Now you can mention the same things with Genji and Tracer. Like a good Genji and Tracer, if your positioning is really bad or you're not being super self-aware because you're too consumed with keeping everyone alive as a support, you'd most likely give them the upper hand in killing you very quickly. And people can hate on it, but Sombra does have a high skill ceiling. I think her latest rework does make it harder to play her as well. But would you have the person who can turn invisible and basically nuh your abilities for a temporary amount of time? Or would you have the flank that you could potentially hear and see at almost all times? Yes, I'm tying the bans into it being a fun factor. And it's super unfortunate because fundamentally who Sombra is, you know, that her kit is just that. Like Sombra's the hacker. It would make sense for her to be able to hack people and disable their abilities. And it's good. I think it's a healthy hero to also have, as controversial as that may sound. But I think it's generally just a fun thing. Because I'll even say this for myself, but I would always pick out Sombra and just like ban her. Yes, I am part of the problem. Yeah, it's mainly just a fun thing. That's the general consensus that I'm getting from like Twitter, is that fundamentally the hero is just so unfun to play against. Like even if you're playing like a Wrecking Ball or a Doomfist is actually a better example of this. Doomfist dives back lines, gets hacked by the Sombra, and basically just dies. There's no choice. Like it's one thing to get hindered by a Cassidy, right? But it's another thing to just have all your abilities just inaccessible to you for a temporary amount of time by someone that you can't see half the time. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't like ways to counter a Sombra, right? Play in groups. That's one way. You know, if there's a Sombra and it keeps, you know, and the Sombra keeps picking out, you know, the supports or the teammates, whoever, then it's like group up, stay grouped up. And basically whenever Sombra pulls up, you know, just as a good chunk of the team, try and just focus her for the little bit, even if it's just to chase her away. But the truth is, it's not really fun to do that. It basically disables a good chunk of the team from being in good positions to help with a push or a defend, because they don't want to be alone and potentially get picked off by the Sombra, you know what I mean? Because in a 1v1 situation where maybe you're the Ana and you're so far back in the back lines where it's like, okay, you're safe from whatever's happening in the front line, but you're too isolated to the point where a flank could really come like Sombra and just kill you very quickly and very smoothly. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm like in a masters or a good rank or anything. I'm still in middle ranks. Like I ended off the last season in plat for support. In open queue, I just made it to plat 5. So I am kind of part of the average player base when I am saying this. And the reason why I say fun thing, even just for counterplaying, is because you can also see in the stats that in Masters Plus for some of these, like the console and PC bans for Masters Plus, for console, Sombra is first by almost 80%, and Sombra is nearly 50% in the Masters and above PC bans. So I truly do think it's like more of a like, oh, it's such a hassle to deal with Sombra. Whereas if you're dealing with Genji, it's like, okay, cool, this is fun or better to deal with at least. So that's truly my take on it. It unfortunately is fundamentally just due to the character. So in summary, I think bans for Sombra are higher than, you know, a lot of these heroes, or the most consistently high compared to a lot of these heroes. It's mainly because of the fun factor. It's not the most fun to go up against Sombra. I'm sorry, Question, but it's the truth. Anyways, I think that's all I really have to say about it. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like. That'd be greatly appreciated if you do want to, of course. And also, if you're going to check out my other videos or past streams or whatever the case may be, then please do subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated if you do want to, of course. Do have a Twitter, do have an Instagram, do have a goal, try and see ratio mysteries over there on Twitter. And in order to do that, I'm going to need more followers over there. And in order to get more followers over there, I'm going to need more followers over here, so you know exactly what to do. Do have a TikTok, it's new. I've been posting there almost every day, so I recommend you check it out. Do have a Discord link in the description as well. But what are your thoughts on everything? Do you think that the bans for Sombra are very surface level? Do you think it's because people just suck? Or do you think it's valid and more complex, where it's much more fundamental into the character of Sombra? Do you think that there's maybe a bigger hero to worry about that people aren't exactly talking about? Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? If so, why for either of them? Which heroes are your go-to in terms of banning for this season? Anything you possibly have to say, you can put them down in the comments below and I'll probably acknowledge it. And you know what it is, guys. Peace.